request the permission of my elders to speak.
Have permission.
I'm going to rise and face the east and recite the Moorish prayer. All those who wish to join in, please rise, face the east, and repeat after me. All those who do not, please stay seated, please stay quiet. 5 on the left, 2 on the right, feet on the 45 degree angle. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day. Through his holy prophet, noble Drew Ali. Amen. So feedback from somewhere. I got me appointed, y'all. Good. That's it, hope me up. Anybody recognize what this symbol is? Left hand. Like power symbol. Anybody else? Black Panthers. What about this one? Yeah, I'm not answering you. Anybody else? No? Yeah? Y'all need to come up and look at it? Is it too small? Because y'all ain't saying nothing, so if you're trying to figure it out. So we got a black power fist. We got a black panther fist. We got a fist. These two symbols are Sankofa symbols. I did this one in that way because I saw the picture and I liked it. Because it would symbolize, you know what I'm saying, black power fist. This one right here is it's a symbol a lot of people use. Some people use it like this without the feathers on the bottom. And then it would be in the shape of a heart. But what the picture of the Sankofa is, if you disregard the fingers right here, it's a bird with his feet planted firmly on the ground facing forward, and the bird is looking back. The bird is looking back. So these are Sankofa symbols. This one you'll probably see more. You know, I just came across that one and I liked it, so I did it, so I drew it. But this is the one that you'll probably see more, or you'll just see a picture of a bird dropping the egg with his feet firmly planted. Anybody heard of Sankofa? Any of y'all know what Sankofa is? Familiar with Sankofa?
I watched the film on Sankofa.
You watched the film on Sankofa?
Yeah.
What you see?
It was a film of slaves.
Yeah, take the microphone. Where is it? Right. Here, come get the microphone. Nobody else saw Sankofa? I'm going to burn some copies of Sankofa, and I'm going to bring them next week and pass them out. So what you see on Sankofa?
Sankofa was a film, a slave film.
Speak to the mic.
It was a slave film, basically teaching ancestors how to rebel. It was a rebel against the white supremacy, against the slave owners. And in the film, we had numerous characters. I got a lot of their names written down, but numerous characters. Basically, kind of like Nat Turner. But Sankofa film is basically a bunch of characters. Rebel against the slave owners.
All right. So, movie, he kind of got some of it. So the movie starts off. You see up here, I just wrote some stuff. Go back and get it. Remember the past, our story. And I wrote the future depends on it. Now the reason I wrote that stuff is because it all pertains to Sankofa. Sankofa is a word from the tribe of Ghana. San means to return. Ko means to go. And Fa means to look, see, and take. So Sankofa means to look back and go back and fetch it, or go back and grab it, or go back and get it. So essentially what it's saying is, remember your past. Look back into your past. Remember your past. Go back and grab what you can get from it so it can shape your future. Because your past definitely shapes your future. The things that you've experienced, the things that you've learned, the things that you've witnessed, all take hold in this time right now. What made me think of this is I had a Sankofa moment last night. When I got my first astrological reading done by Brother Ross Ben, he told me, he looked at my chart, he said, man, bro, you got a Sankofa life. He said, oh, can you see, bro? Lean me straight. He said, you're going to spend a lot of time reflecting. He said, you're going to spend a lot of time looking back on your past, thinking about your future. And when he said it, I could only smile because it was true. That's all I be doing. But at times, it's real intense. I heard a song last night. And it just threw me into a whole fit, into a whole whirlwind. Just had me thinking back and thinking on so much. And I'm like, and I just started thinking about Sankofa and looking it up, getting reacquainted with it all. And that's pretty much what it is, man. Sankofa is taking a look back. Because when you look back, sometimes it hurts. Sometimes it's disappointing. Sometimes it's joyful. But you gotta look back and grab a hold of what's back there and bring it forward with you. Your past is going to shape your future, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, whether you like it or love it. Your past is your past. You can't change it. Now, when most people talk about Sankofa, the people who know about Sankofa, the first thing that they think about, and sometimes the only thing they think about, is slavery. That's the first thing that comes into their mind. Slavery, the middle passages, the whole slave story, the whole thing. When I sat there and I thought about this, I thought about y'all. And I thought about how many of y'all have heard me say time and time again that story didn't happen the way that they said it did. And then I think about what y'all might think of when I tell you what Sankofa is, and then you think about it in your own mind. What do you reflect to? So then I thought of some kind of experiment that I could do to test some of you, to see what y'all think. So I'm gonna ask for some volunteers, just a few people to come up and take part in this experiment. Don't be bashful, we family. I ain't gonna bite nobody, I ain't gonna hit nobody. I ain't gonna hypnotize nobody, I ain't gonna take your past and steal your future. Oh man. So everybody always got my back. The rest of you. So, and you know what? You know what it is, brother? They was waiting for somebody to come up so they can see what the experiment was. Then they can realize what they can do, right? Yeah. So here's the first part of the experiment. Because we did this in here at the York House a couple years ago, and I knew not to pull this out first, because if I pulled this out first, nobody would have come up. Probably except Miss Phyllis, because she did it the last time, and my at the time 8-year-old cousin, because the rest of y'all were too embarrassed to do it. So I'm gonna give Jeremy this mirror, right? I'm gonna stand in front of him and I'm gonna hold his mirror, and I'm gonna let him look in the mirror, because I want him to look into the gateway of his soul, and I want him to tell me what he sees. Right, so we got, look, the rest of y'all ain't coming up. But we used to say, look, you know what I'm saying, for a second, you know what I'm saying? He getting me back from last time. Remember he was up here holding the board about 20 minutes?
ask you first of all a lot of questions. Doubt himself a lot. Progress somewhere. But be honest, great tomorrow. Not sure what you're believing will happen.
So I got a question. When your fears will make you move forward.
Yeah.
Now I need you to close your eyes. This is only going to work on him because he's the first one, and all the rest of y'all can see him. Hold your hands out. Put something in your hands. Don't open your eyes. Just embrace it. Embrace it. What do you feel? Stage hands. Hold on. Open his eyes. Now take a second. Right? Just hold it. Hold it. And take a moment.
Feel more free. Not really holding you down like this. Things with things that I'm non-existence that I'm
know what I put in your hand?
get some answers, some closure in saying that, there's something else out there, are some answers. Somebody actually tried to do some work in the past to make things better, and it's a matter of moving forward with that. I found my own path.
This fez belonged to James Watson Bey. Right? Now, he didn't know that. As far as he know, I could have took my fez off my head and put it in his hand. But he didn't know that. Now, what he just said is what James Watson Bey did. Took information and wanted to give it and wanted to teach it. He didn't know that this was his fez. That's energy. Right? Now, that same energy that you didn't feel, that you did feel on those cups, still resides inside your body. Now, even though you said you don't feel enslaved or you don't feel tied down, at the same time you said you feel fear, and your fear keeps you from moving forward. So in a sense, you got invisible chains that you need to snap, or that you need to break. So it doesn't have to be at this particular time, but at some other point in the future, you'll have the Sankofa moment. You're going to think back on this moment. This will become the Sankofa moment. You'll think about the feeling you had with those cups in your hand. You'll think about the feeling you had with that festival. It was a whole different feeling. So, thanks for being courageous. Anybody else want to look in the mirror? You don't have to hold the cups if you don't want to, or you don't have to hold the festival if you want to. But if there's anybody else who wants to just look into the mirror and look into your own soul, look into your eyes, and then let the world know what you see. I was scared of this mirror.
What do I see?
see a woman, I see a daughter, I see a sister, I see a mother, I see a child, I see a teacher, and I see a little glimpse of my future as an elder. I see a once strong individual, women, that was broken at one point, but I feel that she's regained what was thought to be lost. I see love, I see victory, I see beauty, I see passion, tranquility, and I see family, and I see me.
So the woman you saw that was once broken, she ain't no way restored. She can be restored. She's back into that past, find out what broke her, and she can put that back together. Being a woman, you have to follow the strength. Anybody else want to look in the mirror? What? I'm scared of that mirror. You want me to look in the mirror? You want to look in the mirror? Or you want me to look in the mirror? Okay, come on. Don't bother me to look into my eyes. When I look into my eyes, I see hurt. I see anger. I see joy. But I see more hurt than anything. But I embrace the hurt. I know it's generational hurt. I know it's hurt from past lives. I know it's hurt from my ancestry, from generations of my ancestry. And yeah, sometimes when I look into my own eyes, I cry. Sometimes the tears are on the inside. They don't roll down my face. Usually my actions become the tears that would typically roll down my face. But yeah, my hurt is definitely generational, and even to this present day, because when I look into my eyes, I see all the young, and I see all the people outside, and I see all of these babies, and it drives me crazy. It angers me. It brings that emotion out of me, but that emotion is what drives me to do the things that I do. Your arms getting tired? Yeah. That's what drives me to do the things that I do. That when I hear so much discouraging stuff that is going on amongst us, amongst our community, amongst our people, it's, believe it or not, it's the hurt that drives me forward. It's the hurt that makes me get up and want to fight. It's the hurt that makes me want to, it's the hurt that makes me want to inform our people and show people what I see. Because if I can show you what I see, then maybe I can help you see what it is that you're trying to block. How many of y'all heard of past life transgressions? Anybody ever did it?
Yeah.
You did it? I did it one time. I did it probably about 4 or 5 years ago, something like that. I traveled down to Virginia to Old Dominion University. My brother was teaching English over there. And one of his friends was a hypnotist. And that's what he specialized in, past life transgressions. Right? So I went and did it. And yeah, my man gets you in the chair, gets you sitting there, relax, put on this really, really tranquil music. And we sit there and, you know, he's talking and I'm listening to the music. So my man says, picture yourself in a crowded mall. And as you're in the mall, you're walking towards the escalator. So you get to the escalator and you step on. And as you're stepping on, you're going down. And And the further you go down, the darker it gets. The darker it gets, and you just go into supreme darkness. Just like that, it was dark. So then he said, open your eyes. And I opened my eyes, but not physically, because my brother was recording the whole thing. So I didn't actually physically open my eyes. But when he said, open your eyes, I looked around. And he said, well, what do you see? I gotta turn that off, I apologize. He said, what do you see? And all I saw was I saw a field of grass. It was sunny as hell. It was grass everywhere. There was trees all around. And he said, well, who do you see? And I said, nobody. And he was like, you hear anybody? And I'm like, no. So then he said, well, can you walk? I said, yeah. So I started walking through the field. As I started walking through the field, I stopped. And when I stopped, everything cool? When I stopped, I started crying. And I was crying uncontrollably. Now, crying under and crying over, because my brother got a video of me crying. Crying. So my man is asking me, what do you see? But I ain't see nothing. It was still just a field of grass and trees. There was nobody around. There was nobody there with me. So he asked me, well, what do you feel? And I told him, I don't know. So then he brought me back out, because he said, your emotions are really deep and really high at this point. He brought me back out. So he let me relax for a few minutes, then he took me back under. When he took me back under, I could see nothing but dark. I couldn't hear anything, I couldn't see anything but dark, and that was it. So he said to me, you either, your past was so hurtful that you don't want to remember it, or it was that terrible for you that you totally lied. And I'm telling you real talk, I've been wanting to go back, but yeah, we never made it back down there. Because I'm anxious to know, because of the emotions and the things that run through me. Like it was a time when I hated to see an Albion with one of my women. I still don't like it, but it don't move me anymore. It doesn't anger me, because if that's who that woman chose to be with, then so be it. It's her life to live, not mine. But it was a time when that would really move me. Like I would be ready. You know what I'm saying? I was wasting my own energy, right? It be these Sankofa moments that take me back to that stuff, right? But those Sankofa moments is what made me interested in the past life transgression, because I was wondering what happened to me, or what did I do before to make me the way I am now. Like when I look into that mirror and I look into my eyes, I see fire. I see fire. Like if I told y'all some of the stuff that goes through my mind, y'all probably wouldn't speak to me. I'm just being honest, yeah, but that's anger, that's hurt, that's generation. That's from knowing, you know, much of my past. When most people talk about Sankofa, the first thing they think about, sometimes the only thing they think about, is slavery. That's why I bought these. That's why I went and got these bracelets. I borrowed these from a friend. Y'all, if y'all want, y'all can come get them, touch them. You know what I'm saying? Do whatever you want to do with them. Just don't take them, because I got to go back and answer to her. Okay. You thought I was gonna bring it to you? Yeah. That's the first thing. That's the first thing that our people's minds allude to. And the fact of the matter is, yeah, we were in bondage. Some of us.
Well, the last one on the bottom was on my family's coat of arms, so that's nobility. So
Last one on the bottom.
The last picture, I didn't think of it as slavery. Photograph is noble.
What picture you talking about?
On the one you have a face, you have the fingers at the bottom.
The Sankofa picture.
So that-
No, the same. That's not slavery.
No, it's noble.
No, the Sankofa bird is what it is. It doesn't mean over.
But it's on my people's coat of arms.
Right. But the Sankofa is what it is. It's looking back.
Well, yeah, I'm
Bringing it
looking
forward.
back at slavery. I'm looking back at nobility.
Okay. If that's what it takes you back to, then good. Because our people were in bondage. But that's not our history. And the problem is that's the beginning of the history that we're taught. That's why I gave Jeremy the handcuffs first. And then I put the fez in his hand after. Because I wanted to see what emotions and what thoughts and what feelings he would have when I put that fez in his hand. Emotions is what happens to our people. They get emotional, especially when they hear this and they sing it the way they sing it. Go down Moses, way down into Egypt land, tell all the pharaohs to let my people go. When they sing that, ooh, and they start singing it, like, people get emotional, and they start to touch them, and they start to feel it, and they start to get angry. But when you go to Kemet, or if you do any extensive research on Kemet, you can read Anthony Browder's Nile Valley Contributions to Civilization, or you can watch a video by Dr. Ray Higgins called The Verdict is In. It's in a few parts. You can watch that on YouTube. There is no mention of any Exodus ever in Kemet, ever, ever. You can scribe the walls, or you can do what you can go look, but there's no story of that ever. But people have been hearing it for so long, and they get so emotional that when they hear it, it just strums their heartstrings. And then they get a Sankofa moment, right? And they start thinking back, and they get angry, and yeah, but it didn't happen. Research will tell you that. Like I said, you can read Nile Valley Contributions to Civilization by Tony Browder, or you can watch The Verdict is In by Dr. Ray Higgins. Well, it's Anthony Browder. Another part of that song says, oppressed so hard they could not stand, let my people go. To this day, we still oppressed so hard that sometimes we can't stand. Right? When people got situations and they go into these tribunals and they attempt to stand on their square, they will fight you tooth and nail. They will fight you tooth and nail because they know what you're saying is right. And they'll push you, and they'll push you, and they'll push you just to see just how much you know and if you can really stand on that square. They're going to keep you oppressed as long as you let them, as long as your fears keep you from taking a step forward. I remember it was said to me years ago that people are, let me gather my thoughts. That fear keeps people from succeeding. And I thought to myself, like, how? Like, how can fear keep you from succeeding? Yeah, it'll freeze you. Because it's always that, what if? And what if takes you here, what if takes you there, what if takes you here, everywhere but there, right? Why is the what if never, what if I knock this thing out of the park? What's going to happen then? It's been in bread. It's always what if, what if I don't, what if, listen, if y'all think I be lying, when I be sitting right there, if I be having butterflies in my stomach, before I turn on the mic, they was laughing at me in Toronto Sunday. We had Drew Ali Day in Toronto in Canaan. And Cujo was laughing at me. He was like, man, stop your knee from shaking. And I'm like, well, hurry up, because I'm ready to go. You know what I'm saying? The waiting, the anticipation drives me crazy. Right? Waiting to get it drives me crazy. But it's not fear. It's not fear. It's somewhat excitement, you know, a little bit of butterflies, but it's not fear. I never had a fear to perform. Never. Not as a child, not as a young adult, not as an adult. I never had a fear. My fear was always of losing. Right? That was my biggest fear, losing. And then someday, I don't know, man, I just had this revelation, like, bro, you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose finance. You might lose jobs. You're gonna lose relatives. It's a part of life. You're gonna lose. Then I learned, it really, you know what? I remember when it was. I hate to make this example because Bree told me I'm always talking about fighting. But it was when I lost my first fight. It was when I lost because I didn't think I was gonna lose. Ever. Like my brother said right there, he'll tell you. I was like that. I didn't think I would lose. It wasn't until I got home and I sat down on the bed and Man, I cried and cried and cried and cried because I couldn't believe I lost the fight. But the next day when I woke up, I was ready to fight again. Like, man, like, nah. Like, it wasn't no clam up. It was like, all right, I see what I did wrong. I see what I did wrong. So at that point, it became a lesson learned. It wasn't so much a loss no more. Like later for him, all right, they raised his hand, but I got my hand raised too because I learned something. So I overcame my biggest fear. My biggest fear was losing. Like losing would make me, make me stutter step. The thought of it. I overcame that fear. And the problem with a lot of our people is we never overcome our fears. And our fears, just like the brother told us, he has that fear. That fear will keep us from moving forward. Some people even got a fear of finding out the truth. Like the truth will shake you up. The truth will cause some people to kill themselves. Believe it or not, the truth will cause some people to kill them because they can't deal with the fact. Take for instance some of our people that's in the church. Sharif just showed me a video. Terry Longstrode. That's the pastor's name in the land. Terry Longstrode. Gabe, right? Picture of him and his boyfriend, they got on their little suits, they clerical collars, smiling and carrying on. Man, my man went into the church and told his congregation that his husband, that he called his wife, was knocked up. That he got some kind of surgery so that he can get something put in his body, and now he's knocked up. He's going to deliver a baby. Sharif got the video. Sharif got the video, right? So, Nonetheless, whether it's a woman, but nonetheless, the fact is he told his people that, right? So then they start passing out, falling down, freaking out. Me, I'm just bouncing. All right, you do what you do, homie. I'm out of here. You have a good life, you and your boyfriend. But I'm not. But some people was actually passing out and falling out, freaking out, because they can't believe that this man, supposedly man of God, some people are so afraid of the truth that it'll cause them to kill themselves. When these people find out that the stuff that they've been told about their religions ain't real, ain't true, some of them can't take it. Some people can't never bounce back.
I cried.
You cried? We all got bit by the same dog. He got us all. But see, where it hurt you bad and you cried, I laughed. And the reason for that is because I was made to go to church. My grandmother's made us go to church. But as a youth, something just wasn't right. I had these questions. The biggest question I had was this: that if I accept Jesus Christ as my personal Lord and Savior, then I'm gonna have eternal and everlasting life. But if I don't, then I'm gonna burn in fire and brimstone for all of eternity. So, as I'm telling you, as a 12, 13, 14, if that's going to happen to me, if I don't accept this dude, I'm thinking, because I read and I know history, right? And I'm thinking, so let's go back to, let's say, 12 AD, when Jesus was, right? If he was over here in this part of the world, and there wasn't many airplanes, they said it wasn't. Wasn't many airplanes, and it wasn't so much cross-Atlantic voyages. That's what they say, right? So what happens to the people, not in this part of the world where Jesus is at? What happens to the people all the way on the opposite side of the planet who never heard of Jesus? They gonna burn in fire and brimstone for all of eternity? Because if so, then that ain't cool. Then I don't want to be a part of you. Those are the questions I had. That's the stuff that burned inside of me as a child. So, whereas it hurt you, I was like, cool, because once I found out the truth, it was like, all right, now I ain't got to be sitting here wondering. Once I started getting information, I see more, I crave it.
So when I found out that I
No,
was,
the mic closer.
when I was so deceived, I just assumed it was because I always had that feeling that I was lost and thought that nobody would direct me to where I really needed to be. And so right now, this is the only time that I feel like I'm not lost. I'm not lost in the world.
That's because you was lost in something that wasn't natural. It wasn't from your ancestry. It wasn't true. You was lost. You was lost, and then you got found. You found whatever it was you found, whether it was your cousin or whatever it was. But you was lost all them years, and then, you know.
Yeah, then those dreams stopped too. Those dreams stopped.
I asked the question, who's to blame? For our people being so oppressed so hard that they can't stand. Who's to blame? I'm talking today. I'm not talking ancient history. I'm talking today. Us. Us. We. The school system. You know how that comes back to us? Because we send them to them schools. Because now imagine like this, right? I don't know the numbers from this past year, from 16, but in 2015, they said that Asiatic people spent over $1 billion for Christmas. Right? Now, imagine if we spent $1 billion to build schools, and we wouldn't be able to blame the school no more. Right? We because it's commercial, right? And we don't want our children to feel bad because they didn't get nothing for Christmas. $1 billion. Listen, guys, that's enough to fill this room, probably. Imagine if it was in ones. That's probably enough to fill this room, floor to ceiling, wall to wall, front to back. You know how many schools we can have? You know what kind of education she could be getting? You know what kind of education she could be getting? So we can't blame the schools, we still gotta blame us. Because even though we ain't got $1 billion, we can scrounge up right here in this room over the course of 6 months. We can scrounge up enough to do something. So it comes back to us. We can't blame nobody for our shortcomings. For personal shortcomings, you can't blame nobody but you. You can listen. It doesn't listen. I know because I was that one point in the finger. And then I looked into that thing and I'm like, you made all the decisions. You chose to say I'm gonna do it or I'm not gonna do it. That's just because I did this, guys. Because I was willing to look. Don't be afraid of it, don't bite. If it cracks, if you look at it and it crack, yeah, that's another story. But that mirror's not going to bite. That mirror's not going to bite. It wasn't until I looked into that. So you guys who was to blame and point fingers all day and night. But until you actually put the one back into your own chest, you ain't going to be able to move forward. You got to face them fears, and you got to be willing to accept the blame. That's why I put right here next, is it you? Is it you?
No, I don't consent.
Because you don't what?
I don't consent.
Consent to what?
I don't consent to anything that's against what's righteousness. Anything that's against righteousness, I don't consent to. So if I gotta go to the school and have kids in the school, or if I gotta look at my son's stuff and go over it and tell him the truth compared to it, no, it's not me. That's how I feel.
I mean, your perception is your own. You got the right to feel how you want to feel. I mean, you know what you do. Nobody else is tagging along. You know what you do, so you feel what it is you feel. Can we and will we learn from the past and our past? We can, but will we? That's the difference. That's we can. We can do anything, but will we learn from that past? Oh, I mean, listen, they got Some will and most won't. That's sad. That's sad. When we travel, it's disheartening. It's disheartening not seeing a whole bunch of people look like me traveling. Right? Going to these places. And I was telling Bree and Rosbeth when we were getting on the plane going to Toronto last week that the first time I flew on that airline, which is Porter, which services all of Canaan land, all the major cities, there was an Asiatic sister. That's what she said. You on the right airline? Yeah. Why you say that? She said, oh, you don't look like you should. She said, no, go ahead. She stopped. You don't look like you should. Like I should what? You going up there? Why not? The first time I flew to Germany, the chick asked me, was I in the army? Why else would I be going to Germany? I can't, exactly. See, y'all get my point? We travel around Philly. We go to Atlantic City. No problem. If you go to some of these other places, you have some real Sankofa moments. Go down to Louisiana. Go over to that Mississippi River and see some of them mounds that's up and down. Mounds all the way from Canaan land down to the Gulf of Mexico. All along that Mississippi River. Y'all got cars. Put some gas in them and go. Y'all got cars. Who? No, when I ask this question, Shreve don't put nobody on camera. We don't want to embarrass nobody. Who in here got a pair of Jordans? Got a pair of Jordans. Jordans, sneakers. Nobody got no Jordans?
Yeah, I got it.
Good. All right, so my man got a pair of Jordans. How much they cost?
I bought them on discount back in the day. They old.
I ain't trying to know that.
I used to spend $100 probably.
$100. That was back in the day, right?
Back in the day.
Now with $100, I'm gonna tell you what I can do with $100. Cause I ain't buying no J's. I ain't buying no Jordan. I never had a pair and I never will buy it. But I'm gonna tell you, and so if I didn't have nothing to do and I had $100, I'm gonna tell you what I would do.
Gotta speak wisely over there.
I ain't gonna say nothing. He said speak wisely, right? So me saying nothing is the wisest thing I can say.
Nothing. Okay.
I'm not even gonna entertain that. Come on. If I had 100 notes, this is what I would do. And I ain't got nothing to do, right? Because this, this real talk, this is just how it is. You wanna go to DC? We get up early the next morning, we get in the car, it costs me 35, 40 notes to fill that thing up. Now, that Toyota Avalon I got is 2001. People say, man, when you gonna buy a new car for what? Listen, I can gas that car up and drive it 6 hours before I put more gas on the highway. I'm gonna buy something else. Ain't falling apart, got tires on it, got heat, got air conditioning, I'm gonna buy something else. But anyway, $100. I take that $100, I fill up the tank, pay them a couple excise taxes on the way down to DC. And then me and her go into the Library of Congress. We go into this museum, we go into that museum because they all free in DC. You ain't had to pay to get in no museums in DC, not one. And then we spend the whole day learning. Right? Now, don't forget, now, 35 to fill up the car, right? And then 4 at the first excise toll, and then another 4 at the second. So 35, 4 and 4 is how much? Making a count. How much is that? 43 bucks. So how much I got left? I still got 57 bucks, right?
You still gotta save the 8 to go back.
Still got it, Buck. So coming back, you got 4, then you got 8, and then you got 4. So you got 16 coming back. So minus that 16 from that 57, what am I left with? Come on.
$43.
Nah, I ain't got
$41. $41.
How much?
41.
41 bucks. Right. Now, when I go to DC, you know, we probably eat before we leave. But there's a restaurant that I like to hit on the way out. It used to be called Everlasting Life. It's on Georgia Ave, over there by Howard University. So then we go past there, and then I spend that last little few notes over there. Now for that same $100 that I got that pair of Jordans, that I probably wear a few times, or I could have got. Me and my wife got in the car, went to DC, went to all the museums, learned some stuff, got all this information, so then we can come back here and tell y'all about it, and then y'all can say y'all traveled too much. because that's what we was told before. Yeah, we was told that we traveled. However, you see what I'm saying? That same little 100 notes.
Got an experience out of it. You get through,
Y'all got cars. Y'all capable. Go do some stuff. Go see some stuff. Because when you see it and you touch it, you remember. How many of y'all know that it's OMAC head in DC? OMAC head in DC. One person besides me and her. There's an OMAC head in DC right outside the Museum of Natural Sciences. Smithsonian Museum, right on the National Mall. OMAC head. Go touch it. Yes?
So-called black history of the Smithsonian just 2 months ago, and in charge people were making bus went up.
Well, you ain't got to pay to get in that museum. It's free. But they got a waiting list from here to next year, or something like that, right? What they got in there? They got vesves in there. They trying to make us wait to see them. What they got in there that they any of y'all been to that so-called Jewish museum at 5th and Market?
No.
Any of y'all been to any museums in Philly?
yes.
Do they have armed security? Any of the museums y'all been in Philly or in DC, they got armed security? Well, they got it at that so-called Jewish museum at 5th and Market.
Really?
They got dudes standing there looking like a soldier with all his battle gear and his pistol on his head. Why? That is the only museum I've ever been to. I've been to a lot of them. They got armed security. You remember the day they opened up, me and Reed rolled past, and I hit the brake. She's like, what's wrong? I backed up. I said, yo, Gus, you work here? He said, yeah. I said, what they need with armed security? He said, I don't know. I was speaking out loud when I said what they need with armed security. But he was, he just responded, I don't know. Because he needed a job. But they got armed security at that museum. Can we and will we learn from our past or learn from the past? Just like Miss Phyllis said, some of them will, and some of us won't. Some of us ain't never going to look back. We ain't never going to have the same Sankofa moment. Some of us don't even want to accept what's back there. You did what you did. It is what it is. Take it on the chin, learn from it, move forward. Especially if you got babies. If you're suffering and you had children, they came into this world suffering because that's what you was doing when you gave birth to them. When you impregnated your wife. When you're suffering, you're stressed out, you're going through it. So now that's what they had. We were told to go back to the ways of our ancient mothers and fathers. First, we must remember those ways. And remember that you can never forget. A lot of people think that that's a Prophet Noble Talib quote. But it's not. He just reiterated it. That wasn't him that came up with that. He reiterated that. It's in them books. If you go into them, it's in them books. They call holy books. It's in them books. All you got to do is just go back and do some research and read, and study. That's Noble Talib just reiterated. Right? Now this part right here, remember that you can never forget. You never forgot anything that ever happened to you. You can remember everything that has ever happened in your life. You know how many times you've been sitting around and you look at something and say, man, how long you had this picture, man? This was 42 years ago. Like, I ain't even 41. That's 42 years. Man, I forgot. You ain't forget that y'all did it. It just slipped your mind. But as soon as you seen this picture that I moved, you're like, whoa. I totally forgot. You didn't forget. You just didn't remember. You can never forget. Ever. You remember stuff from this time, and you remember stuff from last time. A lot of times when you go down and you go to sleep and you dream, some of that stuff be from last time. Some of those people be from last time. How many times you have a dream and you so familiar with this woman or this dude and you ain't got a clue who they are? Not from this time. That was from last time.
Or sometimes it's
Could be coming up. Could be a premonition. Just sidebar. Any of y'all ever heard of, this is what Ross Ben talked about in Canaan. Any of y'all ever heard of the Mandela effect?
Yeah.
Mandela effect.
It's not real.
It's not real?
It's tricky.
Ross went in on it last week in Canaan. Right? All you go to, all you gotta do is type in Canaan Land Moorish Drew Ali Day 2017 and check out his presentation. What made me think about it is just a deja vu moment. We were somewhere in Canaan Land, and Ross did like this. Ross Ben has never been to Canaan Land this time. Ross said, it's like deja vu, man. We did this before. He ain't never met Ujo. He ain't never met nobody else that was in Canaan Land but us. And he sat down. I mean, we sat down to eat. Yeah. It was at least 20 or more of us that went to dinner. Ross never met any of those people this time. My man sat down and was like, yo, I did this before. We was in a restaurant. I've never even been to that restaurant before. Because you don't ever forget. You just don't remember. Something has to happen to make you remember. Something has to happen. I mean, you come across somebody and you be like, man, I feel like I know you from somewhere. But you know you never met them this time. But it's just a familiar, you know, you're familiar with them, like, man, like, yeah, that's because you can never forget. As far as going back to the ways of our ancient mothers and fathers, we got a lot of work to do before we get there. Like, do we even trust each other? I'm talking about the people in this room.
No.
She said, no, not even. It's all the stuff that we was taught, right? But,
If somebody trusts and they'll.
go ahead. Oh, let me give you the mic. You know you don't talk to me.
That's right.
What you just said, I need to share, because I was in the store yesterday. And this mother, I was in the store yesterday, and this mother was with her little son, and she kept saying, stay over here, I can't see you. So when you want somebody to snatch you, snatch you, just went through. And I was like, should I open my mouth up and tell her, setting her son up for her? Because we teach here to our children, we constantly do it. More and more will say, oh, you want to be bad, police want to get you, police want to get you. Just, it really bothers me now that I know better. Because I have two sets of children. I have an older set and a younger set. So the old ones always telling me about what they heard and I didn't do it to the younger ones. I learned about the fear that I was putting in my children. So yeah, we have been taught some things that it's hard to shake. And talk to the sister here and explain things to her. She knows. But some people I talk to, okay, have a good day.
Right, you talk to learned behavior.
Yes.
And see, you know what they say, when you know better, you do better. So that's what you did. You learned, and you knew better, so you did better. And the people from before can't understand it, right? We all can learn to do better. It's the whole point of if you want to do better, if you want to be better. You think about the ways of our ancient mothers and fathers. And I asked a second ago, do we even trust each other? I don't have trust issues until you give me trust issues. Unless we do this, and I feel it. If I feel it, then you ain't getting no more of that. What's up, man? That's what you'll get. It's real talk. I mean, y'all done felt it. You done bumped into somebody, and their energy is totally off. And you know, I can't deal with this cat. I can't deal with this nigga. We don't trust each other. We quick to stab each other in the back. But why? Why? You know?
Yeah. I have a feeling that when you're looking at somebody and you have perception of a person without speaking to them, you mess up everything. If you go in and you have no thoughts of what this person is until they give it to you, it's better because it's a fair match. You give the person options to decide. But when that person doesn't have that, that's when the fears come in to where you can't trust this person or trust that person because they already made a unrighteous or not even righteous, an untruthful claim about you, not even knowing you. And then on top of that, maybe they, maybe you were rubbed the wrong way because you're not used to something that the person is used to. So they did it to you and now.
If somebody rubs me the wrong way, what am I supposed to do?
That should be dust for my feelings.
Well, there's children in there, so I ain't gonna say what I want to say. But I'm the type of individual, I don't have a problem saying flip you. It don't matter who it is. So if you rub me the wrong way, then I'm not gonna deal with you. Now, as far as trust, I'm talking about trust. Because trusting somebody, so if I know, if I gotta go outside, I know he got my back. I don't got a question on it. I know he got my back. If I gotta go outside, I know Jocko got my back. Without a shadow of a doubt, I know that. I know if I gotta go outside, my brother sitting in the back of the room got my back. I know the elder Nabi sitting in the corner got my back. I know without a doubt they got my back, so that means I gotta trust them. I know that. I ain't gonna bring it up. I know you're thinking I'm gonna bring it up. I know y'all gonna bring it up. I ain't gonna say it.
You always do.
But y'all get the point. We don't trust each other. And in relationships, trust is one of the key components. Right? You can say you love somebody all you want. Who cares that you love them? You only need to be around somebody for a specific amount of time to grow to love them. Or can you trust them? You got relatives that you can't trust. You got relatives when they come in your house, you're just like this. Put that down. Because you can't trust them. In relationships, trust is one of the key components. Right? Communication is one of the key components. We lost a whole lot of ways of our mothers and fathers. We don't communicate. Some people don't even really communicate in their own household. So I know you can't communicate with me. If you can't communicate with you, if you can't trust, if I can't trust her, there ain't even no need us sleeping in the same bed. If every time she moves, I'm like this, like. Looking in her pocketbook, sniffing the food to make sure it don't smell like arsenic or antifreeze or nothing like that. Yeah, she do carry knives, y'all. Look. She be going to the airport with shanks. How you forget you got a shank? Right? And then try to give it to me. I shouldn't trust her, right? Anyway, we were told to go back to the ways of our ancient mothers and fathers. First, we have to remember those ways. There's a lot that we forgot, y'all. Like we don't even bother. Everybody is out for himself, right? People know what barter means. They just don't do it because they so used to that greed. You got people, they know what barter means. You know if I got this, you got that, we swap. They know what it means. We did it when we was children. I mean, look, baseball cards, right? Yo, you got that? I got 2 of those here. Give me my 10. And you swap. And now I got 1 and now you got 1. Right? But people don't do that no more.
And when you do that, people are like, well, why you give me that? Because we did taught you. Why you give me that? I don't have nothing.
You know what's, you're right, you're right. Now, I heard the other day that a woman I know doesn't know how to act because the man that's in her life right now bothers her. She ain't accustomed.
What do you do with her?
Because he bothers her. He takes care of her. She ain't accustomed to it. So she don't, you know what I'm saying? It's, and now, going back to fear, that will scare a woman right out of the relationship.
Yeah.
She won't know. She like, oh. And she'll clam up. She ain't used to that. She ain't used to this dude going the extra miles. Listen. She ain't used to when he drops her off that he don't just pull up and watch her walk to the door. When she get in, he pull up. She pull up. Just make sure he cool. Go, yeah, all right, cool. Ain't used to that. How we forget that? How we forget to open the door for that moment? You all right? I can tell. I can tell. How we forget that? How we forget? Listen, it don't matter if it's an Asiatic sister. It don't matter if it's a European mother. When you see her, you open the door. You open the door. If she don't say thank you, then so be it. You did your part. If she don't say thank you, if she got an attitude, so be it. You did your part. Don't let her not saying thank you for you holding the door prevent you from holding the door for Miss Phyllis when she comes. Something that small as Miss Phyllis coming and me opening that door and saying, no, you go ahead. And literally let her walk all the way past it. That could brighten her day.
Right.
Because we forgot. And they know that we forgot.
Right.
They know we forgot. We got to get back to the ways, y'all. We got to start to think. And see, when you got little boys, when you got a son, and he see you doing that all the time, then he goes up and he does it. He seen you do it. And them little babies right there, they want to know. When that dude don't open the door for her, when he pulls off before she even gets in the house, she already know. It's a wrap. On to the next one. That's that learned behavior. We got to get rid of the bad learned behavior, fear, and all of the. We got to do that. Listen. We got to get back to this. Remember, you can never, ever, ever forget. Learning about our nationality and birthrights. Learning our story before 1619. Why I say that? Why I say learning our story before 1619?
That was the King James Version.
No, nothing to do with the Bible. Nothing to do with the Bible. Something to do, in part, something to do with King James, but not the Bible. What happened in 1619? 1620? Jamestown, Virginia.
First colony.
That's when they said the first slave ship came from. That's what they take us back to in school. No, 1492 was when they said Columbus.
Columbus discovered it.
But that was the West Indies. That wasn't.
That was Haiti.
Right.
But see, even when they take you back to 1492 with Columbus, they don't tell you that Columbus went to Haiti and slaughtered all them people. They don't tell. Now read Columbus's journal. They don't tell you that Columbus said they are slick, they are strong, they are cunning, they're fast, they're smart. They didn't tell you that Columbus said that in 1492, and then they didn't tell you that Columbus went back and saw Ferdinand and Isabella and said, "Hey, listen, with the right lot of men and the right amount of artillery, we can take a whole lot of them." They didn't tell you that in 1492. Nothing to do with Columbus. And then when Columbus came back, start gunning them down. Because we was over here like this, over the arrow. We was over there with the spear, right? We wasn't doing that. So when you come over and Mosi get on the ground, I mean, what do you think you're talking about? I saved you when you came back. The rest of them like, what's this? All right, man.
But I don't understand, if he turned on everything, how did
Because, now, so you think about the gunpowder, right? Who invented the gunpowder?
The Arabs.
Not the Arabs.
The Majestics. The Magi.
China. China. Why? Because they was making them firecrackers and stuff when they was having the parades with the dragons and all of that stuff, right? Albion did what he always do. You know he went over into Asia. You know he went over there and took them opium. They wanted the tea, they wanted this, they wanted that. So they went over there and they took them the opium. They started getting them high. And they started taking everything. Listen, now I gotta say this time and again because I gotta make sure that people clearly understand. I don't hate the Albion. I don't dislike Albion, I dislike what they do. I dislike what they did. Just to be clear, I don't like as many of y'all as I don't like them. I only got a problem with who got a problem with me, whether that's Asiatic, whether that's Albion, or whoever else. So when I say stuff that I say, don't think that I'm being malicious or hateful. I'm only speaking the truth about what they've done. It's not my fault. That is so terrible. They went and got that gunpowder, and they did what they did with those guns and bullets and mortar and all of that stuff. That wasn't us. We're not a destructive people. We've never been a destructive people. Look at what we left. Go to Mexico. Travel around North America. Go up north. I took Ross to a Stonehenge in Toronto. Took him to a Stonehenge in Toronto. Now, when I first showed that Stonehenge degree, I came back and I was working. And on the side of the U-Haul truck, I was dropping off some U-Haul trucks in Jersey. On the side of the U-Haul truck was another Stonehenge. And it said that these things got the Canadian landscape, and they are over 4,000 years old. And there's hundreds of them. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, hey. I took a picture of it because it's not the same one that I was just looking at a couple days ago when I was in Toronto. They're all over the place. Why we don't go see it like this and touch it, man? The same way Jeremy held those handguns, and the same way Jeremy held that fez. Energy. You think those rocks don't got energy? You think those, listen, go down, listen. Save up like $600. Take a trip down to the Yucatan. Go see those Olmec heads. Or just, or go down there and just go to one of those pyramids. And walk in, it's a pyramid in Chichen Itza called Pyramid of Kukulkan. My man, so you stand in front of the pyramid, right? This is where Albions pour in every spring and fall equinox. And they watch the body of a snake illuminate on the side of the mountain, come inside of the pyramid, and come down to the head of the snake that's at the foot of the pyramid, right? So right there on those particular steps is where Kukulkan and whatever other ruler stood at the top of them steps, right? Now, you stand in front of them steps and you do this. And it says, right up the steps. Now imagine this. You got 500 of your people standing in your courtyard, and you standing up there, and you talking, and they clap. And it's 500. Do you know what kind of vibration that is? Do you know what kind of energy that is? Even just to stand there and do it, just to hear it, you keep clapping. Like the tour done went on, and you still sitting there like, hold up. This is the kind of stuff you got to experience. You got, and now the beautiful thing about that is this. On the way there, the second, because we went twice. We went in 05 and then we went in 15. The second time we went, we stopped at some shops, at some stores. On the way, now this ain't nowhere near Cancun. This ain't nowhere near no tourist section or nothing like that. It's just some shops in the middle of Mexico with agave plants that's taller than us. Agave plants taller than us, right? They got paintings. In fact, listen, if anybody remind me, I'll show you the picture. I'll send them to you. They got paintings on top of these shops, right, of the Mexicans fighting the conquistadors. What y'all think I'm gonna say next? The conquistadors were not melanated. The conquistadors were not melanated. No, but the people who fight them were. Mexicans were. Now, if you can do it before they removed it, go down to DC and go to the Library of Congress. When you walk up the steps on the left. When you walk up the steps, there's an exhibit that says something about ancient Americans, right? They got these pictures in there. Now, I thought they would have took it out of there by now, but they hadn't. They got these pictures in there. And the pictures kind of sitting on an angle like this, right? No, you can see them. You just got to, right? You can see them. But the thing is, even though they're on an angle, there's glass in front of them, so you can't take pictures of them. The way the reflection is, when you take a picture, you ain't gonna be able to see clear, right? Now, it's these wars from Mexico. All the conquistadors fighting the Mexicans. Go see it. Don't take my word for it. DC is 2.5 hours away. You drive like me, might be 2. But seriously, it's there. You see, when you go see this stuff, and you just look at it, man, just let it sink in and let it absorb. Even if you touch the picture, even if you touch the artifacts, if you can get to them, your experience with your experience. How much your ancestors that built that stuff? I went there. I was in Louisiana. I went to Poverty Point Park. I was there all day. All day. The young brother that was in there, he said to me, "You one of them people? One of what people? Who you talking about, Doug? You know who I'm talking about, man. They come from up north. I don't know who you're talking about." Now I did know, because I knew that Washington. Well, I know that Washington goes to Poverty Point every year. You know they wear them hats, man. I said, "Oh, you talking about pheasants?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, I got a pheasant." I said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm more." I said, "You are too." What's that? It's an ID he got, diplomat. I won't. Indigenous woman. To all law enforcement, city, state, federal officers. This card gives the status of exemption from state jurisdiction pursuant to Article 3, Section 2 of the U.S. Constitution in all states that honor, pursuant to Article 4, Section 1, full faith credit of all states, except Minister Washington, they do the money. How you say that? Do the money? National. Washington. They go every year.
That's a long time.
That's you. You look like you might have been a little husky. How many years ago? I'm looking at your face. Because he looked like a youngin.
Yeah.
Probably 30 years, 35. 25? Man. He was black a bit, y'all. He was black on his face. But so the young brother had a total disconnect, right? Total disconnect. And you got to understand that I was in Louisiana. Now I know they talk about Georgia and Alabama and Tennessee and all of that being the Bible Belt, but anywhere south of here where our people are is the Bible Belt. You go down south, you going to church. Bottom line. My grandmother's wasn't having it. You was going. So you go down now. So what he said is this. Man, I'm a Christian. I said, bro, your nationality ain't got nothing to do with you. He said, look, man, I don't want nothing to do with that. The last thing I said to him was this. I said, listen, young brother, you work here. I said, the same stuff that you see me taking pictures of, you got at your disposal. Look at these crystals. Look at them statues with the big noses and the big lips and the skin look like yours. And he just knew up and down that it was Indians that left. Couldn't tell they no different. It's a whole lot of our people who ain't going to be able to tell no different. They ain't, listen, talking about learning about nationality and birthrights, they ain't trying to hear it. If that ain't got nothing to do with Jesus, if it ain't got nothing to do with, they ain't trying to hear it, unfortunately. It's a sad reality, but it is what it is. It's not.
What if my people are and they was black?
Well, even if there was conquistadors, they still wouldn't be black. They would have been Spanish.
Yeah. So,
Do you belong here? You understand? If your people were conquistadors and they were Asiatic, right? Because you know the Moors from Spain, you know that, right? Now, just like today, you got some cats who want to say, hey, listen, man, leave it for them. I'm rolling with you. So who's to say that some of the conquistadors don't look like us? But you got to be able to put that in historical context. And you got to know who was in control at that particular time and what was going on. And then you'll know. But that's a question for you to answer, as to, do you belong here?
No, the way you said it just now, I know my people, so.
You know your people stole what?
I know my people stole. That's so good. So, the whole thing is, when you had just said, like, you know, it's Spaniards or not, they're Indian. I have Indian in me too, but it was the conquistadors that took care of my people. While the Indians were walking up, you know what I'm saying?
So, I'm kind of lost as what you said. But, so,
I'm just
but,
trying to figure out, I mean, does it survive me?
but that's a question for you. If you know your family's history, if you know your family's story, that's a question for you, not a question for me, because I can't answer that. I can give you my opinion, but my opinion is my opinion.
What is your
If,
opinion?
I don't have an opinion on it. But you have to sit in a quiet room or go to whatever it is that soothes you.
No, I'm
Well,
here.
hold on, excuse me, whether it's noise, whether it's quiet, whether it's water, you go to wherever it is that soothes you, and you have to really ask yourself that question. Do you belong here? Because your people being conquistadors, they could have been forced to be conquistadors. They could have been forced to fight, to enslave or to kill. It happens. You go right over into Uganda. They took all of them babies at 5 and 6 years old and made them fight in the army. They made them kill other little boys. They made them kill grown men. See, if you know history, then you have to see, that's when you get one of these moments, one of them saying, go back. If you know it, go back. Examine it. They took little boys 5 and 6 years old. Kill him. If you don't kill him, I'll kill you. Oh boy, 5 years old murdering somebody? And he's to blame? No, you have to go back and you have to examine. Learning about our nationality and birthrights, learning our story before 1619. The reason I said that is because that's where they take us in school. They don't take us back before that. There's so much before that. Like the first one of us was born, and then we became slaves. Or they put us on a ship. This is basically essentially what they're telling you. It's up to you to be able to go back before that. Now the problem is accepting that. Some people, they ain't going to accept it. One of my best friends that I grew up with flat out told me, you can't make me believe that we were on this continent first. He flat out told me that. And I said, all right. And he looked at me like, that's it? Yeah. You ain't gonna say nothing? No. You just told me that there's nothing I can say to make you believe. Right. So what are we talking about it for? Let's watch the game. Grasping. In order to grasp it, you gotta accept it first. Because once you accept it, then you can say, you know what? Let me hold on to this. Let me keep this for myself. And let me pass it on to my prosperity. And then after that, we got to start pushing forward. We've been stagnated for a real, real long time. I say it time and time again, man. It's up to us to push forward. Our people, man, listen. I'm happy to see who's here. Because the playoffs is on. Playoffs is on. Now, when I leave, we'll go watch the game. We're going to go watch some football, but I'm happy to see that we're here. We got to push forward. We can't let fear keep us from pushing forward. I wish I had a copy of Life Resolutions. I wrote a poem in the back of that book. It's in the back of Life Resolutions. It's called The Unknown. I wish you did. I guess nobody got it in a long time. You got it? Huh? That's a book I wrote like 3 years ago. Huh? Not with me, also I'll be reading on the back of it. Yeah, I got some more. So I wrote a poem in the back of it called The Unknown. So basically what that talks about is your fear preventing you from seeking the unknown. Like this information was unknown at some point for each one of us. Now, I can remember the very first time that I heard about nationality and birthplace. I'm sitting in class. It's Setenra Bey, Abdullah Talib Mosi Bey, Bey, Miss Raheem Bey. Four of them. And they just going in, and I'm just sitting there like this, like, just eating it up. Eating it up. And then I can remember the first day Abdullah called me. I don't even know how Abdullah got my phone number. But Abdullah called me. We used to on the phone for 3 hours. For 3 hours. And then he called me the next day. What's up, man? What you doing? Huh? You know about this? Tell me about it. I can remember learning, and it wasn't, for me to accept it, it wasn't hard. I accept, because when I hear truth, I know truth. I accepted the truth. And I grasped it. And then I started to push forward. Started making moves, started doing this. Look, y'all, I didn't know I was going to be standing there. I was chilling like y'all, sitting there, listening and taking notes and everything. And then Abdullah said, look, man, you're going to open up for me next week. And I'm like, all right. And then here we are, all these years later. You know, listen. You know, I've been standing in front of classrooms longer than I was sitting in them, learning more times. Real talk. I've been standing in front of classrooms with a microphone in my hand, talking about Moorish science longer than I was sitting in the classroom. But that's only because it ain't got nothing to do with me being a nerd. Thank you. But that's only because I sat up under Abdullah Talib Mosi Bey for 2 whole years. Absorbing it. Hours and hours and hours of conversations. Road trips. Sitting with him while he had lectures, watching him prepare lectures. Literally sat up under that. Abdullah's what I call a walking encyclopedia. That dude's a nerd. That dude's a nerd. You listen, you can't even stumble and say something out the way. Whoa. What you mean? I remember we was going to DC, and I said, how long you been in Moore? Right? Right? So it would do it, right? So say that to me, how long you been in Moore? You mean how long I've been conscious of it? That's what he looked out the window like. Took a deep breath. He looked at me like, I was like, oh, you mean how long I've been conscious of it? Just like that. He answered it just like that. Right? But that's 2 years. Right? And then after getting it from him, I got it from Taj. Like, you can't. I accepted it because I knew it was true. I felt it in my soul that it was the truth. But when I grabbed it. I wasn't letting go. It was almost like your parents in the car and they telling you they're leaving, and you run up and catch up and you grab the back of the car and your feet is flying in the air and you just hold on to the back of the car and they're flying. That's how I felt. That's how it was. I wasn't letting it go. And then it just allowed me to push forward. I put up this Sankofa moment. And the first thing up there is Tulsa, Oklahoma. Why I put that up there?
Because that was the first black Moorish.
Well, that's what they called the first black Moorish.
The first one was actually.
Right. So, Tulsa, Oklahoma, before that fateful day, what's that, June 1st? The European was upset because they come back from World War I, and they like, man, these cats got it all. They got their own hospital, they got their own cleaners, they got their own barbershops. Said, man, these cats even got pianos, their own transportation. These dudes even got pianos in the house. I'd never even seen a piano. They dressed better than me. You know why? Because we was over there making our own clothes. We had our own doctors, we had our own physicians, our own hospitals, barbershops, our supermarkets, everything. Now, She been saying something to me for a long time, and I'm like, she like, we need our own community. We need to live together. When I was preparing for my presentation in Canaan Land last week, I came across something that the prophet said. Moors, you need to live together. And I'm like, nerd. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We lived together in Tulsa and had that thing popping. That was pure jealousy that caused that. Durham, North Carolina was like Tulsa. Durham, North Carolina. Raleigh-Durham is like one of the biggest interchanges through North Carolina. Colleges down there, airports, the whole nine, but Durham, North Carolina. The Moorish divine and national movement of the world. The prophet had all kinds of industry. We had all types of things going on, all types of finance coming in. I should have squeezed in there even the Nation of Islam. Because look at the Nation of Islam. How is it that Farrakhan can fly all over the world? He ain't flying for free. No, it's because they got industry. They got these cats out here. Listen, I mean, you know, been thinking like me, like, ain't no way I'm gonna be out there with no suit on, trying to sell no magazines and no being positive. Dude, discipline. You know what it's got to be like? You know what it's got to be like for you to be wayward all your life, and then to hear somebody say a few words and give you an inspiration and a fire that just lift you up out of all of that riffraff that you was in. You'd be almost willing to do almost anything. They create. Then I put Kemet. You can see I went chronologically backwards. Then you go to Kemet, and you look at the height, the zenith of civilization back then. Well, I ain't even gonna say back then. I'm gonna say period, because we can't do half the stuff. We can't even fathom. They had electricity, right? They tell you that a French dude from Napoleon's squad invented the battery. But when you look at his picture, his drawing of the battery, it's the same picture of what's called a Jed in ancient Kemet. The Jed pillar. It's the same picture. He didn't design or invent anything. He saw it and he stole it. He saw it and he stole it. If your lights go out, what you gonna do? Well, I gotta go get some candles. You can't go get no copper and pennies and stuff like that to get no lights popping. See? How we progressively get dumb. It ain't the school system. You can't keep blaming the school system. When you send your child, I mean the school system, they're gonna dumb you down. But let's forget about the school system. Let's not, no. I'm saying this for a reason. I'm saying this for a reason. Let's forget about the school system because I read history, man. I've been doing it for years. That's when I always had a craving to learn about us. So when I was younger, I was reading what we call Black history, right? Now, you ever been in the South? I mean, like South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee. You ever been in any of those places? All right. So for any of y'all who ever been down there, you might ride past a shack that's only got one room. That was school. You're laughing, but I'm serious. That was school. All of the children from that community was in that building from 1 to 10. Was in that building. Now, today, I can take you out to Lancaster County and show you the very same thing with the Dutch. They don't send their children to public school. They don't send their children. I'll have watched them build buildings. I'm riding behind my truck every other morning going up there to drop off stuff. And I have watched them build buildings in a matter of 2 to 3 months. I don't want to hear about the school system again. If the school system is such a problem, then damn it, build your own. Don't sit around and cry and say, they. We got to flip back a few pages. Who's to blame? So I don't want to hear about the school system. I only want to hear about you. don't want to hear about the school system. Because you figure like this. What's this? They say it's 217. Let's go back to 1817. Where your children go to school? Where they learn? You talk. Well, you can't even teach your children because you ain't know nothing. Right. So when we get us together, that's why us need to do stuff for us, so they can see what us is doing. And they can say, damn, us got it popped. How can I get my child, and us in school? Right, you like that, right? How can I get my child and us in school? Well, listen, man, we this school is packed, bro. We ain't got enough. Well, listen, it's 60 of us over here, man. Look, can we get another one? I don't want to hear about the school system. Give me. I don't want to hear about the school system. I don't even want to hear about us. Who's going to say something?
I was just going to say communication, it's just like your family. You might not know who the grandparents are because nobody talks. It's just different. I mean, somebody else. You might hear a little story and whatever. You don't follow down. The family don't learn anything.
White fellas do, they remember like white bear, black bear, that's all we did.
They remember who?
All we did was 1600, because we only did like 10 hours.
You gotta go talk to the old folks in your family before they gone. Everybody got 1 or 2 left. Go talk with them. Ask them like, yo, what happened, man? You know what I'm saying? Ask them. Listen, before my great grandmother transitioned, she was 98. She transitioned a couple years ago. I beat her ears to death. I need to know. And she told me. My great grandfather, he was 100. He transitioned in 2004. Right? He wouldn't talk about much, but his sons told us everything. My uncles, my grandmother's brothers, and my grandmother's sister, they told it all. Right? They all transitioned. If I didn't ask back then, I wouldn't know. Ask them. If they still around, ask them. Find out what you get. Right? Find out about a time when they had common unity. Right? I sat with one of my older cousins in South Carolina. I requested permission of my elders to speak.
Have permission.
I'm going to rise and face the east and recite the Moorish prayer. All those who wish to join in, please rise, face the east, and repeat after me. All those who do not, please stay seated, please stay quiet. 5 on the left, 2 on the right, feet on the 45 degree angle. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day. Through his holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Amen. Somewhere. I got me a pointer, y'all. Good. That's it, hook me up. Anybody recognize what this symbol is? Left hand. Like power symbol. Anybody else? Black Panthers. What about this one? Yeah, I'm not answering you. Anybody else? Oh, yeah. Y'all need to come up and look at it. Is it too small? Because y'all ain't saying nothing. So if you're trying to figure it out. So we got a black power fist. We got a black panther fist. We got a fist. These 2 symbols are Sankofa symbols. I did this one in that way because I saw the picture and I liked it. Because it would symbolize, you know what I'm saying, black power fist. this one right here is it's a symbol a lot of people use. Some people use it like this without the feathers on the bottom, and then it would be in the shape of a heart. But what the Sankofa, what the picture of the Sankofa is, if you disregard the fingers right here, it's a bird with his feet planted firmly on the ground facing forward, and the bird is looking back. The bird is looking back. So these are Sankofa symbols. This one you'll probably see more. You know, I just came across that one and I liked it, so I did it, so I drew it. But this is the one that you'll probably see more, or you'll just see a picture of a bird dropping the egg with his feet firmly planted. Anybody heard of Sankofa? Any of y'all know what Sankofa is? Familiar with Sankofa?
I watched the film on Sankofa.
You watched the film on Sankofa?
Yeah.
What you see?
It was a film.
Okay. Right. Now, he didn't know that. As far as he know, I could have took my feathers off my head and put it in his hand. But he didn't know that. Now, what he just said is what James Watson Bey did. Took information and wanted to give it and wanted to teach it. He didn't know that this was his feathers. That's energy. Right? Now, that same energy that you didn't feel, that you did feel on those cups, still resides inside your body. Now, even though you said you don't feel enslaved or you don't feel tied down, at the same time you said you feel fear, and your fear keeps you from moving forward. So in a sense, you got invisible chains that you need to snap, and that you need to break. So it doesn't have to be at this particular time, but at some other point in the future, you'll have the Sankofa moment. You're going to think back on this moment. And this will become the Sankofa moment. You'll think about the feeling you had with those cuffs in your hand. You'll think about the feeling you had with that festival. It was a whole different feeling. So, thanks for being courageous. Anybody else want to look in the mirror? You don't have to hold the cuffs if you don't want to, or you don't have to hold the festival if you want to. But if there's anybody else who wants to just look into the mirror and look into your own soul, look into your eyes, and then let the world know what you see. I was scared of this mirror.
What do I see? I see a woman, I see a daughter, I see a sister, I see a mother, I see a child, I see a teacher, and I see a little glimpse of my future as an elder. I see a once strong individual, human, that was broken at one point, but I feel as though that she's regained what was thought to be lost. I see love, I see victory, I see beauty, tranquility, and I see family, and I see me.
So the woman you saw that was once broken, she ain't no way restored. She can be restored. Back into that past, found out what broke her, and she put that back together. Being a woman who had the power of strength. Anybody else want to look in the mirror? Well, it's good. Okay, take the microphone. Where is it? Bring it. Here, come get the microphone. Nobody else saw Sankofa? I'm going to burn some copies of Sankofa, and I'm going to bring them next week and pass them out. So what you see on Sankofa?
Sankofa was a film, slave film.
Speak to the mic.
It was a slave film, basically teaching ancestors. Well, it was a rebel against the white supremacy, against the slave owners. And in the film, we had numerous characters. I got a lot of their names written down, but numerous characters. Basically, kind of like Nat Turner. But Sankofa film is basically a bunch of characters. Rebel against the slave owners.
All right. So, movie, he kind of got some of it. So the movie starts off. You see up here, I just wrote some stuff. Go back and get it. Remember the past, our story. And I wrote the future depends on it. Now the reason I wrote that stuff is because it all pertains to Sankofa. Sankofa is a word from the tribe of Khan of Ghana. San means to return. Ko means to go. And Fa means to look, see, and take. So Sankofa means to look back and go back and fetch it, or go back and grab it, or go back and get it. So essentially what it's saying is, remember your past. Look back into your past. Remember your past. Go back and grab what you can get from it so it can shape your future. Because your past definitely shapes your future. The things that you've experienced, the things that you've learned, the things that you've witnessed, all take hold in this time right now. What made me think of this is I had a Sankofa moment last night. When I got my first astrological reading done by Brother Ross Ben, he told me, he looked at my chart, he said, man, bro, you got a Sankofa life. He said, oh, can you see, bro? Lean me straight. He said, you're going to spend a lot of time reflecting. He said, you're going to spend a lot of time looking back on your past and thinking about your future. And when he said it, I could only smile because it was true. That's all I be doing. But at times, it's real intense. I heard a song last night. And it just threw me into a whole fit, into a whole whirlwind. Just had me thinking back and thinking on so much. And I'm like, and I just started thinking about Sankofa and looking it up, getting reacquainted with it all. I see a person with a lot of questions. Doubt himself a lot. Progressing somewhere. But be honest, afraid of tomorrow. Not sure what's really going to happen. So, I've got a question. When your fears will make you move forward? Yeah. Now I need you to close your eyes. This is only going to work on him because he's the first one, and all the rest of y'all can see him. Hold your hands up. Put something in your hands. Don't open your eyes. Just embrace it. Embrace it. What do you feel? Slaves dance. Hold on. Open his eyes. Now take a second. Right? Just hold it. Hold it. And take a moment. Feel more free. Not really holding me down like this. Things that I'm things that I'm non-existence that I'm You know what I put in your hand?
Get some answers, some closure, saying that, you know, there's something else out there, or some answers. Somebody actually tried to do some work in the past to make things better, and it's a matter of moving forward with that. Find my own path.
This fest belongs to James Watson Bank. And that's pretty much what it is, man. Sankofa is taking a look back. Because when you look back, sometimes it hurts. Sometimes it's disappointing. Sometimes it's joyful. But you got to look back and grab a hold of what's back there and bring it forward with you. Your past is going to change your future, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, whether you like it or love it. Your past is your past. You can't change it. Now, when most people talk about Sankofa, people who know about Sankofa, the first thing that they think about, and sometimes the only thing they think about, is slavery. That's the first thing that comes into their mind. Slavery, the middle passages, the whole slave story, the whole thing. When I sat there and I thought about this, I thought about y'all. And I thought about how many of y'all have heard me say time and time again that story didn't happen the way that they said it did. And then I think about what y'all might think of when I tell you what Sankofa is, and then you think about it in your own mind. What do you reflect to? So then I thought of some kind of experiment that I could do to test some of you, see what y'all think. So I'm gonna ask for some volunteers, just a few people to come up and take part in this experiment. Don't be bashful, be fair. I ain't gonna bite nobody, I ain't gonna hit nobody. I ain't gonna hypnotize nobody, I ain't gonna take your past and steal your future. Oh man. Everybody always got one back. The rest of y'all. So, and you know what? You know what it is, brother? They was waiting for somebody to come up so they can see what the experiment was. And then they can realize it. They can do it, right? Yeah. So, here's the first part of the experiment. Because we did this here at the York House a couple years ago, and I knew not to pull this out first, because if I pulled this out first, nobody would have come up. Probably except Miss Phyllis, because she did it the last time, and my at the time 8-year-old cousin, because the rest of y'all were too embarrassed to do it. So I'm gonna give Jeremy this mirror, right? I'm gonna stand in front of him and I'm gonna hold this mirror, and I'm gonna let him look in the mirror, because I want him to look into the gateway of his soul, and I want him to tell me what he sees. Right, so we got, look, the rest of y'all ain't coming up. But we used to say, look, for a second, you know what I'm saying? He getting me back the last time. Remember he was up here holding the board about 20 minutes? I don't really think about, kind of think about how I think about myself.